Welcome. To Out of the Blue, number 438. Well, I'm still optimistic that this is going to catch on, Neo-Sweo for one reason, and that is that Neo-Sweo is powerful. And the power it holds is the power to align yourself and your thinking with something that makes sense. Because while I personally am sort of an eccentric person with in a curious setting, this system of thinking, what I'm calling a worldview, Neo-Sweo is not terribly complicated, and it makes sense. One of the things that's happened is that this kind of larger scientific worldview has forgotten one curious factor, that we actually that larger view is something we can think about but not experience. So I'm coming at this from an academic study of religion. Okay, so I went to a secular, which means not religious, university, State University, University of Washington, in Seattle. They have a major called comparative religion, and so you read about and talk about, etc., all these world religions. Now, what I'm pointing out, and what is kind of somewhat avoided as an idea right now, is that we are actually within. We are within this culture. We can academically or scientifically or objectively step back and read about it and take a greater overview, but that is separate than our actual living reality. Okay? We are within this culture, and we are not outside observers. We are not looking at anything objectively. We are looking at everything subjectively. Okay, well, where is our culture heading? What is our culture? Okay, generally it might be called Judeo-Christian culture. I speak of it more broadly as people of the book, which includes Islam. So Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all people of the book. And I include Rasta. And it's not really an opinion, it's just a fact. They are part of that whole thing. But academically especially, they're not really included. But the curious thing is that they've actually gotten to the end of the book. So we're all people of the book, but some of us are a little farther along in the book than the others. And I'm saying that the Rastas have read ahead, and they have gotten to the end. And what happens in the end is, okay, so there's the Jews prophesize for a Messiah. The Christian Messiah comes, that's Christianity, promises to return. I'm not going to speak on Islam right now, but Jesus and Moses are in Islam also. But Jesus promises a return, and if you're a Rastafari, Jesus has returned in the person of Haile Selassie I, the Emperor of Ethiopia, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Lion of Judah. It was written about in Time magazine. It was published all around the world. And that's what Rastas believe. And so Rastas are people of the book who have gotten to the last chapter. So for them, Jesus has returned, and the prophecy has been filled, and now we move on from here. And And what I'm saying is that in Hebrew years, when we get to the year 6000, the entire world is going to realize, wow, we're part of this cultural system which has hatched, lived its life, fulfilled its promises. And then that's when the 1,000 years of peace begins in the year 6000, the Hebrew year 6000. So basically we're like the early Christians who, before Constantine made Christianity the religion of the realm, there was what's the early Christian era, which is like 0 to 300. Well, we're in that era now for the early Rastafari, basically. So just like Constantine made all of Rome Christian, our entire culture is going to turn Rasta in another 220 years, is what I'm suggesting. And so you can get on this train early. Now, enough of the talking. I want to get the ball rolling, let's just say. And okay, before I start playing, let me just introduce it and say that this channel talks about Neo-Sweo Borgianism, which is a kind of a religious study, an academic religious study, and it talks about left-handed fiddling. And I want to introduce a new thing, essentially, which is that when you're learning to fiddle, a lot of fiddle tunes are really fast, really tricky and notey, and so you might slow it down to learn it slow. My thing that I'm going to bring up or point out or embody or perform is that the slow version is music. The slow version is does not have to be preparation for some other thing. The slow version is a thing unto itself. And since a lot of these fiddle tunes have a kind of a backbeat, like they accent the offbeat, if you slow that down very far, it becomes almost reggae-like. Right? And so it's really good music to play. So what's happened is I'm learning these fiddle tunes, and to learn the tune, you start playing it slow. Well, I've just camped out right there. Right? You learn these fiddle tunes, and you play them slow, and you can really groove on them. And the melody comes alive, and there's all this room. It's way more accessible. So it's like a new kind of music which combines fiddle tunes with the reggae beat. Now, Ireland is an island, and Jamaica is an island. There are these two green islands, and there's a song called Irie Washer Woman, and I'm going to play it, or try to play it with a real slow beat, and I'm going to call it Irie Washer Woman. Irie Washer Woman. Right? It's a new kind of music. Welcome down to the blue.